Hi everyone, it's Mike from Lanzarote Information and welcome to another edition of the Lanzarote News and Weather. And we are still in Thailand, but I'm quite excited because this time next week I'll be doing this news video from home in Lanzarote. But for our last few days here in Thailand, we've checked into an absolutely stunning hotel called the Veranda. And as you can see, we have the most beautiful views across the Bay of Phuket, and we're actually looking across to the other side of Phuket where we were staying before. So what about the news from Lanzarote? Well, we'll start off actually with the weather, which has been interesting. They have had weather in Lanzarote over the last week or so, and in fact last weekend a heavy calima came in. For those of you that don't know, a calima is when the wind blows dust from the Sahara Desert over the Canary Islands, and it creates this sort of almost fog-like dust, and it can range from a sort of fairly gentle slight mistiness in the air to very, very heavy dust, which is what they had last weekend, and it creates a kind of ethereal orangey glow all around the island, and sometimes also brings insects, and a few locusts were blown over from the Sahara as well as part of this calima last weekend. Temperatures went up into the 30s. Now, as so often happens after a calima, there was a fairly heavy bout of rain on Wednesday this week, which is always very welcome because it washes away all of the dust that has settled, that kind of layer of orange dust you get on your patios and over your car. That's been washed away now, and I gather the island has settled finally into some typical winter weather. So that's daytime temperatures in the mid-20s, blue skies but with a few white fluffy clouds around, and falling to maybe 15 to 17 degrees at night. So let's move on with the news now, and you may or may not know this, but Lanzarote actually has a Michelin Starred restaurant, and it's Kamesi, which is part of Kamesi Villas down in Playa Blanca. They do a fantastic tasting menu down there. We've been a couple of times, and they were awarded a Michelin Star last year, and they became the first restaurant on the island to have one. They have retained it for 2026, so 2024 they won a Michelin Star for 25, and they've now retained it for 2026. They remain the only restaurant on the island with a Michelin Star, so hopefully some others will follow in the future. But if you haven't been there and you fancy a treat meal, I can highly recommend it. Now, next up, this is the time of year when we're all talking about belenes. That's the Spanish word for nativity displays, which take place in all of the villages and towns of Lanzarote. We had news this week that the one in Arrecife is changing location this year, and for the last couple of years it's been in a tent in the area by the Paraglider on the seafront, and it's now moving to the I can't remember the right name, but El Mercadillo, the market in Calle Leon y Castillo, and that's that lovely old building which has been bought by the Cabildo in Calle Real, Calle Leon y Castillo, which had the sort of mezzanine floor around it and a model shop in it. Well, this year's Arrecife Belén will be based in there, and it's inaugurated on the 5th of December. I don't know if you saw the story. I think it's a strange story about a British man and his daughter who came to Lanzarote for a day trip, and they flew from, I believe it was London Gatwick, let me check that. Yep, they flew from London Gatwick with EasyJet. They came in on a morning flight. They paid for their parking at the London airport. They used a bus to get from the airport to the resort. They had a Chinese meal in the resort. The man spent a few hours on the beach in Puerto del Carmen while his daughter went shopping, and then they flew home. For some reason it's become quite a big story in the British press. They did all of this for £112 each. Which is, I don't know, around 130, 135 euros, I think. Kind of bizarre. I really can't get my head around why you would want to spend 8 hours flying, 3 hours in airports to get 5 or 6 hours in Lanzarote, but there you go, different strokes for different folks. Next up, we had the story of a German paraglider who was seriously injured in a crash on La Cantaria beach in Ursula this week. It is the paragliding season, and this time of year we always get a big influx of paragliders from all over Europe that come and enjoy jumping off the cliffs in the Famara area, in the Ursula area, and flying around with their wings. Unfortunately, I don't really know what happened. He fell from a height of about 20 meters, it says, so it sounds like he may have suffered a malfunction of his paraglider equipment. He was quite badly injured. The rescue teams that got to him first called for a helicopter, but in the end he was stabilised at the scene and taken to Arrecife General in an ambulance. He's 60 years old, and we've got our fingers crossed for him that he makes a good recovery. And finally in the news, a new lifeguard station has been installed at Famara, and this has been actually quite a long time coming. So the old lifeguard station was pretty tatty and kind of a bit ramshackle. It's been planned for some time, and it's now been replaced with a shiny new grey building which looks very good. But as part of that process, there are 3 new watchtowers going onto Famara Beach. And I think this is a really good thing, and they've also got an additional vehicle they can use to go up and down the beach. It's a big area to patrol, and quite a dangerous beach, so I think it's important that we've got a really professional lifeguard system going on at Famara Beach, and that all has taken place over the last few days and should be up and running very shortly. So here we go with 3 things you could be doing if you're on the island over the next 7 days or so. And the first is, for most of you watching this today, Saturday the 29th of November, and it's the Playa Blanca Music Night Run. And this is a cracking event which takes place every year, and it is a night run. There are 3 distances on it: 1.5 kilometers, 5 kilometers and 10 kilometers. You can still register for it, depending on which bit of the event you're doing. It costs anything from nothing to 16 euros. And if you don't want to register and actually take part in it, it's just there's a really good vibe down there. You can go and enjoy it and cheer the runners on in the darkness along the promenade in Playa Blanca. And on Sunday the 30th there is a Christmas market at Bodega Stratus, and that starts at 1 p.m. and goes on until 7:30. It looks like a really good event, this. I was looking at the detail of it earlier, and you'll have a double opportunity if you go down there, because you'll be able to check out the Belen, which opened today, the Stratus Belen, which has been really one of the best on the island for the last few years, but then also go along and enjoy the Christmas market. And if you want a triple whammy, you can go and buy some Stratus wine as well from Bodega while you are down there. So that's on Sunday the 30th. And finally, next Friday the 5th of December, go along and check out the new market on the island, which is the market at Marina Lanzarote in Arrecife, and that is every Friday, and it runs from 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. So that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching once again. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like. If you've got any questions about Lanzarote, leave them in a comment below. I read all of the comments, and I will always endeavour to answer your questions. Looking forward to being back in Lanzarote next week, and I will see you same time next Saturday, but this time recorded from back home on the sunny island. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.